creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University.
Get ready, Winona, because this episode of Culture Clique is going to showcase an exhibition by Winona State University's Professor Patrick Lichty. Born in Ohio, spending a chunk of his professional life in the Arab Kingdom as well as working on projects such as The Yes Men, Terminal Time, Critical Art, and much more, he's come to the Winona County Historical Society to share some of the insights on the power of AI technology. I'm Dylan Alzate, and we're proud to sit down with Patrick as we discuss his showing of Winona Revisioned today on Culture Clique. Here we go. Okay. So first off, how was your day?
My day was pretty good, actually. I actually wound up dropping off some of the work that we're going to be talking about over at the Winona County Historical Society, and they seem to be pretty excited about things.
Nice. First off, where is this first show going to take place?
So this first show is going to be at the Winona County Historical Society over on, over on Johnson in Winona, lovely Winona, Minnesota. It's going to be, the opening be from 4 to 6 p.m. on the 11th of August.
Cool. So, what is this show going to feature?
Okay, well, the show's called Winona Revisioned. And so a lot of students who've been working with me a lot here in the mass communication department, especially creative digital media here at Winona State. And I'm an assistant professor. I'm doing a lot of research on artificial intelligence. And so I've been working with the Historical Society and doing about 3 or 4 different techniques. I'll talk about the things that are more straightforward, and then I'll talk about the last one. Is that I've been going through the archives, and then there are some of these computer programs that you've probably heard about, where you can type something in or send an image into it, and it'll process it and bring something back using artificial intelligence. So there's a lot of them like Dolly and Runway, and I use this one called Midjourney.
Oh yeah.
So what I did is I used about 3 or 4 different techniques on this. One, you can send it an image, and you can tell it to describe it, and it'll look at the thing and it'll say, it's like an antique photograph in this style, and with a steamboat in it, and all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
And here's the how wide, how tall it is. So what I did is it'd give you 4 versions of that, and I would feed all 4 of them back in. I'd get 16 different things, and I'd get the thing that I thought was maybe sort of the closest thing to it, but they're all really weird.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, one was like an old picture of, the steamboat landing, and I learned so many things about Winona, there used to be a swing bridge, over the river, and there used to be like a little switchback road going up to the bridge going over the river rather than going straight up it for a long time. So I learned so much about Winona, actually. It was really kind of cool. And this Phelps Hall where we're at used to be called the Normal School. And now I'm calling it the Abnormal School. But anyway, yeah, exactly. But, I told it to give me Phelps Hall, and it looked like something out of Harry Potter, which, of course, we all know it is. So the other one is that I would give it an image and say, give it to me in the style of the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright. So I've got one of the library, and it looks like it was. I had it redone as if it was done by Frank Lloyd Wright, and it's actually pretty cool, So that's that. But the one that's the and I've also been going through and taking these images and going into some programs like you and I know, Illustrator, and having them do outlining and that sort of thing. And I have robotic drawing machines, and I'm having them do these sketches of these different places from around Winona, and I'll be demonstrating that. The last one that's really weird. There's this There's a Scandinavian artist who built this machine called Paragraphica. But the thing is that it's a camera without a lens. So it senses your GPS, the date, the temperature, where you're at, what's near you, and all that. And it gives you, what they call in artificial intelligence, a prompt, that you feed in there. And then it gives you back something. And so most of the time, it's just absolutely, completely rubbish. But what I do is I'll go and I'll tweak it a little bit. And then I get something back that looks like it might sort of look a little bit like Winona. And my favorite one is, so here in Winona, we have these, I forget which company it is, but down on 3rd Street, all those silos.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those concrete silos. So I said, I took a picture down there, and I said, show this, and it gave me like farm silos.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just give it a picture and.
Well, no, and I'm not even giving it a picture. It's this thing that you can also use your computer to do it. So it just take your GPS location,
right,
time, date, everything, and it just give a description of the area just based on where you're at and everything.
Oh.
And then you feed that in, and then what happens is that it gives you back an image, and for the most part, it's really kind of, doesn't really have anything to do with it. So I would go and I'd mess with it a little bit and make it so it looks a little bit more like where it's supposed to be. But, so I'm showing these different things, which in a way, I want to do two things. On one hand, I want to talk about how, as a relatively new resident of Winona, I took a great interest in the history and the geography of the place, and worked with the Historical Society to, make these pieces of work. And then also to say, we're putting a lot of faith in artificial intelligence. And I use this analogy, is that artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity. But what the deal is that it's really inaccurate. If you tell it 2 times 3, it'll say that it's metaphorically like 5.7355, and they said, it's okay, that's close enough, because the technology is going.
It's not 100% accurate, but
yeah, which is fine until your automatically driven car goes, over the I-94 bridge,
right?
Because it's, it should have been 6, but the technologies, so. So I think really what I'm trying to do is kind of having a little bit of a fun discussion about Winona and artificial intelligence, and maybe a little bit of fantastic imagery.
Nice. That's interesting. So
yeah.
So what would you say would be the purpose of showing off this AI
Okay. I'm trying to put this together in the proper way. It's like, okay. Okay, Patrick, what's the use of this? I said, no, okay. Yeah, all right. Well, on one hand, I think that in popular culture and in the news, that there's a lot of controversy about this. Is this going to destroy the arts? Is this going to completely upend society? Right. Is this going to, are we going to be bowing to our robot overlords? I should probably be sounding a little bit more serious, but there are some people who, somebody asked me the other day whether the Q conspiracy was an artificial intelligence thing. I'm just going to leave it at that. But anyways, what happens is that I'm saying that artificial intelligence is something the results we get look pretty good, but it's something that's so complex that sometimes it looks indistinguishable from magic. And, it's, there's no human consciousness to it. There's no subjectivity to it. It does learn, but the thing is that, it's interesting. It's pretty. It gives us interesting answers, but it doesn't have any soul.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think on one hand, I think it's interesting to see what the creative possibilities of this are while having a good critical conversation about saying that it isn't a replacement for human beings. And I would say third, if you want to say that, is that within creative digital media, of course, here at Winona State's Mass Comm department, of which we are a part, we have a very nice little AI research cluster that we have a partnership with the Center for Digital Narrative in University of Norway. And we have a lot of great discussions about AI, and we have a lot of people here in Mass Comm who know a lot about AI. And I think this is one way, I can help tell kind of the region that we really actually do have a lot of minds here who are working in very innovative ways here at Winona State.
In a way that won't, have us bending a knee to our metal overlords who will overthrow the government in our creative, in the creative department.
I make no guarantees. At least we'll have our hand on the lever, which will be good.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So have you done showcases like these in the past?
Let's see here. Yeah, actually, there's kind of reverse engineered show that I've done. There's a project that I've been doing called Studio Visits, which I started working on, and it's actually a exhibition catalog, which is getting published here soon, which is a human curator, me, kind of fictionally visiting 50 artificial artists in their studios. So I generated their artist statements, their names in GPT-4, and which is an AI text-based generated thing. And then I put those things. I said, give me a picture for the studio for the artist with this artist statement.
Oh,
and and the funny thing is that there's no person sitting in any of them. They're all empty.
So you're just talking to a bunch of empty.
Well, they're
artificially generated.
They're completely digital. They have no bodies. And that sort of thing. But that show's been talked about at the Center for Media and Art in Karlsruhe, Germany, and it's been in the Brooklyn Rail, and it's gotten a lot of publicity. So it's been nice.
Yeah. I remember my first experience with ChatGPT, which the browser that I currently use, Opera GX, has been integrating into its browser software.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things I asked it to do is write a 2-minute script involving a giant war mech wearing a traditional Japanese maid cafe uniform.
I'm not sure I want to go there, but that's certainly quite interesting.
And it did. That was the best thing I've ever read.
Of course.
All day.
Of course. These things give you a chuckle now, don't they?
They do give. Yeah.
They do.
So what inspires you to engage in this sort of activity?
Well, actually, I've been working in, scholarship of digital culture and new media art probably for about 30 years, shown around the world. I've got done a few things. And really the thing that I do a lot is I work a lot in what they call emerging genres. And because there's this media philosopher by the name of Marshall McLuhan who always said that artists are sort of like the advanced scouts for culture, and I always believed that. So, I like exploring the edges of creativity, I think, and because a couple things. On one hand, it gives me an idea of what might be coming down the future, and then the thing is that for my students and all that is that, I like to try to show people what they might be having to work with 5 years out. It makes Winona State a more, innovative place, and hopefully makes our students more aggressive in the workforce.
Yeah. because kind of like changing it up a bit, giving it a few innovative tweaks.
Exactly.
And I believe there's a quote that you mentioned earlier when we were talking at one point about innovation versus invention.
Yeah. And innovation. Guy Kawasaki in a TED Talk, he does a really great discussion about innovation. Like the refrigerator basically it started out as a box with a piece of ice in it, and then somebody put a fan in it, and then somebody put more stuff in it. And now we have these things, and AI may be a bit more of an invention, and inventions are more disruptive. Right. So the thing is that I think on one hand, maybe it's a little easier to make money off of innovation, but on the other hand is that maybe learning about the latest invention will keep you in your job.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from at least learning how it works.
Right. And I think really when we're involved in, myself as an artist, when I'm dealing with culture, technology is so intrinsically tied to culture. I think it's really something that I take upon myself to try to keep up with, and then basically comment on that through my work, in order to be a commentator on the current day.
Right.
Anyway.
Nice. That's really interesting. And how you even go as far as to mention how AI, as cool as it sounds, might be more closer to an invention than an innovation, like just what you were mentioning with the fridge.
Yeah, but it isn't that new. I mean, was it late 1950s and that sort of thing? I forget. I believe Stanford. A number of shall we say big heads got together to start thinking about artificial intelligence as we know it now, and there are just certain leaps and bounds of insight, I think, that have led us to this current day. But the one thing I always wind up saying is that in a point where you're in a point of technological disruption, there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of interest. There's also a lot of unsureness. But I think on the other hand, is that these things tend to even out after a little bit, and then there's some things that there's the good and the bad of it. But on the other hand, what happens is that it kind of reaches a state of equilibrium again until the next tsunami comes.
Yeah, like how kind of like how cryptocurrency was the biggest thing, and and then it kind of settled down, and the next thing came, and which is currently leading to a writer's strike.
Exactly. I mean, we're already getting students who are writing commentaries and essays and giving them to us, that were written by ChatGPT here already here at we're getting them. Yeah, they're here, and and we've got stuff that detects it pretty well. But it's an arms race, but this is beyond the idea of fighting over whether we're going to put artists out of business or whether a student's going to get a grade or something like that. I really think it's much more interesting that there's this technology that's changing culture.
Yeah. Yeah. I've even just this morning I was hearing about this one specific YouTuber who has started a second YouTube channel, and that whole YouTube channel is ran by AI.
Sure.
And it's been doing well.
Well, Spotify DJs.
Yeah.
Spotify DJs are AI. So there you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now, steering this conversation to somewhere more different, would you consider the controversial conundrum of cereal identifying under the category of soup?
Okay. That's here. Now, okay. Run this by me one more time. Okay. So basically, okay, there's this controversial conundrum, which I think is a fantastic phrase. But the idea of cereal as soup. Now that's very interesting if you think about it, because you have liquid involved, and you have a spoon involved, and you have a bowl involved. But however, the thing is that you have to look at the nature of the contents to think about whether it's soup or whether it's not. So say, for example, there are sweet soups, but also on the other hand is that most soups are savory. So there's like a milk base versus like a cream base, and then the other thing is that then you might have a broth. But what's in there is that it's usually like meat or vegetables or something like that. But you have to consider the notion of the word cereal. And those cereals are largely grain-based. So the thing is that are you going to say that you're going to have a grain-based soup? There aren't too many. The thing is if you're talking about barley vegetable, but if you had barley vegetable with a cream base and it have it be sweet, then you might have the idea and then have it be cold. Then you might get in the territory. But the thing is that you're usually looking at the idea of, you've got Spanish tomato soup. What do you call that? It's cold.
Oh.
So that's that. But it's not sweet. It's it's savory, and that sort of thing. And then, but on the other hand, I think usually what you're talking about is usually something that has, a grain base with some fruit, often sweet, cold. You know what? We can't even say that because we could say oatmeal.
Yeah.
Oatmeal, for God's sake. So we're talking about oatmeal, which could be savory, rarely not, but
we call it hot cereal.
It's hot cereal. So the thing is, I think really, I think that you've come upon a really kind of blurry sort of line here that I think that there's we should take this on Fox News. This would be really great. See what they do with that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think that we kind of have some blurry lines towards this cold, sweet, grain-based thing, maybe some fruit and that sort of thing, an occasional small animal. But what happened, you very rarely do you have small animals in cereal. But then on the other hand is that you usually have larger animals in soup, like livestock, but not the whole one. Yeah. Because that'd be really
that'd be a bigger
inconvenience. And but the thing is, it's often it's like either cream or broth based and all that. So, but anyway, we've gone too far on this. But you got me involved in quite an analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of taking a break from the matter at hand to talk about quite the query.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's like Frankenberry. Okay. What's next, Dylan?
Going back on topic.
All right.
What do you hope that audience members would get out of your discussion or just your art?
I think I hope that the audience will come away with a certain bemusement, a little bit of entertainment. The idea that maybe they'll have learned something about this new genre of technology. But in a way that isn't threatening, and maybe as an invitation for them to, engage in a bit of curiosity on their own.
It's like engaging their curiosity, like practicing their own forms of AI, like writing or like what you said, or how you use Midjourney, or the one where you like describe your current location.
Yeah, which I think is totally strange. And actually, I mean, I think a lot of these, image making is more about writing than it is about, images. But that's kind of an avant-garde perspective. But I don't know. I think that there are a lot of people who know about this around here, but I know that there are a lot of people who don't. I mean, in my classes, I have a lot of students, I've never heard of this before. And so, I think what I'm doing is I'm trying to, in a playful way, bring innovation through kind of the channel of, our program here and the Historical Society. By the way, Jennifer and Andy and Anna have been fantastic to work with. And, I really recommend going there because they're just such a great resource. And I just think that, I just think that this is something that is emerging. It's going to be very important to our culture. And, and I don't think a lot of people know that Winona actually has a, small, intellectual center, based around the study of these things. And I think that may surprise a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. I mean, it sounds surprising to me, honestly, but I understand that that Winona as a community, that we have a deep, knowledgeable center.
Yeah, we have. Oh, we know a couple things.
I mean, it's a college town, for goodness sake.
Yeah, of course. I mean, colleges are centers of generation of knowledge.
Yeah.
We would like to think.
I would like to think that.
Yeah, me too.
Now, does this kind of type of work tie into your occupation, or would you consider this to be more of a personal hobby that you want to share?
There's the idea of vocation, avocation, etc. I mean, I'm a media artist and producer, so this is the thing that I do that I wind up teaching. So, what's vocation, what's avocation? I think they switch back and forth at times. I think, being that this is a teaching college, I think that the college would like to say, so your teaching is, of course, your primary thing, and it is. But this is the study of the thing that I wind up bringing to the classroom, and I wind up, bringing to the intellectual and creative world. So, whether this is, no, it's definitely not a hobby.
So it's more of something that you end up teaching in class.
Yep.
Sweet. And do you have plans to do more of these shows in the near future?
Oh, heck yeah. I do. Let's see. The Studio Visits show will be part of the Wrong Biennial in Alicante, Spain, starting in November. I have elements of artificial intelligence. That's part of the other show that we're going to be talking about soon, called Googled Earth, which involves VR and artificial intelligence that I have been working on, involving with my wife Nagina Tasabian. So that will be at the Watkins Gallery starting on the 16th. And based on these things going forward, I have a couple projects in the works. I'll just say one thing that's really interesting is that I'm finding radically different results from one thing, like from versions of this program called Midjourney, and then this other one by Musk's OpenAI called DALL-E, and these other things. You get really radically different results, and I'm starting to study that, and I think that's very interesting, and that'll probably be another show in itself. And then I'm starting to use this stuff in virtual reality.
Yeah.
So it's getting getting a little off the rails at times.
I mean, if you're not having a show that goes a little off the rails, and I mean.
Yeah. So anyway, I am talking a bit informally, but what happens is the fact that these things are being written up in by global critics and that sort of thing, and it's been Very good. And the other thing is that, we have other artists, here like Talon Mehmet, who's, doing amazing, who's doing amazing work in AI himself. And it'd be great if, he could talk about that himself. But, that might get a little bit far afield. But, we have a lot of really interesting people doing AI here at the university.
Awesome. So to either keep up with kind of where you're at or find more of your work, where would you direct people to find more of that?
Okay, to learn more about what I'm doing, I'd say in general at the moment, probably just do a Google search. I'm reworking my website, which is patricklichty.com. I have a lot of work at patlichty, PATLICHTY.com, but I'm going to be moving towards patricklichty.com. And probably one of the best places to find out about what I'm doing at the moment is my Instagram, which is PATLICHTY_art.
Is there any other final plugs that you'd like to make before?
Well, regarding plugs, I would like to say that a 220 volt plug is much larger than a 110 volt plug, and and it's not as easy to shock yourself on, and in that case, I'd say thank God for British colonialism. But let's see here. No, sorry. Anyway, plugs.
I was trying so hard not to laugh.
I know it's yeah. So anyway, we're we know each other. It's fine. Yeah. So plugs. I think that for at this point, I'd say come down to the opening at the Winona County Historical Society on the 11th. From 4 to 6, I'll be giving a talk on at 5 o'clock. I'll be doing some live demonstrations. There will be some student work up during the month. It'll be up until the 24th. And then on the 16th, my wife, Nagin Etasabian, and I are going to have our show Googled Earth, which is another story in itself, on the 16th at the Watkins Gallery at the art department at Winona State University.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to keep up with you and your whereabouts when Googled Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much.
A huge thanks to Patrick for joining us on today's episode of Culture Clique. Be sure to check out Winona Revisioned this weekend, August 11th until September 24th at the Winona County Historical Society. To check out more from Professor Lichty, follow him on Instagram at patlichty_art or his website at patlichty.com. I'm Dylan Alzate, and for more talks about Winona or the surrounding Midwest area, tune in to Culture Clique every Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. here on 89.5 KQAL, on the app, online at kqal.org, on your favorite smart speaker, or wherever you get your general pod stuffs.
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.